Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Friday again. Just checking that everything. Yep. Clicking all the right buttons. We're in chaos still. I think generally we survive in chaos. It definitely feels like it. So yeah, a little bit chaotic and twirly still this morning. Still having stuff done. So it's and Eric. Yeah, there we go. You don't need to bark all the time. Yes, he does. Thank you. Sit down. Sit down. Told you it was chaos. Sit down. That's the chaps being very polite and bringing their cups back. Good morning, Tina. Good morning, Ruby. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Emma. Good morning, Deb. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Maharet. It's all right. He's gone now. You can lay back down. Eric's been very brave, and every time one of the chaps moves or talks or sneezes or whispers, he barks. You've been very brave, haven't you? Yes, very brave. Yeah, chaos. Good evening, Sephora. Spelling mistake on the YouTube page that's in screen while you're waiting. You've lost your L in the web page. Oh, I'll have a look at that. Thank you, Sephora. That doesn't surprise me at the moment. Chaos. Angela, Eric barks as much as my Ollie. He's very protective. Aren't you? Mm-hmm. Bless him. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Karen. Sephora, old PA jeans rising to service. Yeah, no worry. No, it's always good to know about those sort of things. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Lucky Fairy Queen. Good morning, Heather. Yeah, we're all here. So yeah, we had a good day out. What day are we now? Friday. We had a good day out on Wednesday. Ness and Heather and I went to do Bosom. We did some pottery painting. We did lots of eating of, fried breakfasts and stuff as well, but we did that too. All good. Steve, any chance of a spring equinox talk? So there is. Let's get them. Okay, so there is a spring equinox ritual and 2-hour workshop that myself, Ness, and Heather are running. I can't for the life of me remember when it is. Let's have a look. Let's have a look on the calendar. It is. Okay, so Saturday, 8th of March. I'm guessing 6 till 8. I can't remember, but I've got the date written down. Saturday, 8th of March. On the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel, on the Kitchen Witch Facebook. No, it'll be on here actually. So details are on the Kitchen Witch Facebook group. We'll be running a free, online, open to everyone, 2-hour workshop that will include all of the correspondences and activities and stuff related to spring equinox. And then we'll do a little bit online spring equinox ritual as well. So have a look out for that, Steve. That is Saturday, the 8th of March. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Kerry and Ebony from a rainy Llanelli. Yeah, it's just starting to rain out here too. So it's sitting in the kitchen. I can actually see the garden. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, David. Busy morning. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be busy. Good to be busy. Thank you, Heather. 6 p.m. start. Good morning, Jackie. David, what's the talk? Saging. Wouldn't know, I'm only 17. David, you are a wise sage, for sure. Absolutely. Sephora, early daffs. Yeah, I did buy them in the supermarket. We saw snowdrops on Wednesday. I haven't seen any daffodils outside yet. We do not need to bark, thank you. There's the Facebook event link to the Spring Equinox Workshop. Thank you, Heather. Yes, today's talk. Last week was quite stressful and the energies were all a bit off. They're bound to be off. We're having work done in the house again. We're having the bedroom redone. So the energies in the house are a bit off. So it felt like it needed a cleanse, a sage, a smudge. I don't use sage actually, but a smudge. And I thought actually that would be a good subject. So that's what today's subject is. Do you use smoke cleansing? Do you smudge? Do you use sage? If you don't, why don't you? If you don't, what do you use and why do you use it? If you don't use smoke cleansing, how do you do your cleansing? So that's today's subject. Yep. Smudging, cleansing, all that malarkey. Jackie's raining lightly, but we're brave in the garden. Ground prep for a new greenhouse. Very exciting. Angela, windy here, off to the beach later to blow a few cobwebs away. Perfect, perfect. Good morning, Luna. So yes, smudging. So let's get rid of the elephant in the room first, shall we? So smudging. There's a whole thing about it. The word smudging is, well, it's an English word. Smudging is English. The whole practice of cleansing with smoke is not unique to the indigenous peoples of America. They have their own smudging rituals, smoke cleansing rituals. They have their own process. They do tend to, as far as I understand it, stick with white sage because it's native there. But the idea of cleansing with smoke is done by many cultures in many countries. So it is not unique. For example, the Vikings used mugwort to burn and cleanse with smoke. And I mean, they're old. It is something that's has been done by many cultures across the globe. So it is not unique. So please feel very comfortable cleansing with smoke and knowing that you are not appropriating anything. The only way you would be culturally appropriating from the Native American Indians is if you actually did one of their rituals, specifically used all of their practices and then tried to sell it. But you won't be doing that. So let's not even go there. So yes, do feel comfortable cleansing with smoke. It is perfectly fine for anyone, anywhere to do it. It is a tradition that has covered the globe. The idea of using white sage is a little bit different. I don't use white sage over here because it is not native to the UK, although I was gifted a white sage plant earlier this year, and I'm looking at it now and it's still thriving in its pot, but it's not native to the UK, so I don't tend to use it. I also don't want to spend the money to ship it from the other side of the globe. Now, there has been a bit of a to-do about white sage, and there are variations on the story. I would suggest if you want to use white sage for smudging, then do your research. There's the kettle going on. There is the idea that white sage is endangered. It has been over-harvested, apparently, in some areas. So be mindful of sources. But there's also the flip side to that some indigenous peoples, tribes, actually make their living selling the white sage. So if you want to use it, do your research. However, I tend to use all sorts of other things that are native to the land that I live on because for me it makes more sense. So there you go. That's the elephants in the room. Let's get that out of the way first. And lots of comments. So let's get these up. Okay, wild around here for new growth. Daffodils, snowdrops for a few weeks. Nice. I haven't seen any daffodils outside of the ones I bought from the supermarket. I have seen snowdrops. But it is that time of the year. They should be up and about. Okay, Lucky Fairy Queen. Love smoke cleansing but can't because of family's members' allergies. Yeah. So I create a water-based spray cleansing with essential oils and salts. And my family is out the longer I smudge. Nice. Maria. I use dragon's blood incense stick, one of my favourites. have sage, but it tends to go out often. It does. Yeah, it's a bit of a trick keeping a sage bundle light. Maharet, I do sound cleansing. Incense is more of an offering for me, and I'm not that big on sage either. I'm not particularly keen on the scent of white sage, I must admit. Christine, being asthmatic, I have to be careful to smoke. So when asthma is bad, I use a bell to clear. But when on steroids, I can breathe in and give house a dang good cleanse. Sometimes it needs it, doesn't it? Jane, can't justify using white sage or Palo Santo for smudging because we've got miles of indigenous sage in the front garden. Got rosemary and lavender too, so ideal for making smudge sticks, which is exactly what I do. We've got sage, we've got rosemary, we've got lavender, we've got thyme, all sorts of stuff. Yes, so I do tend to use the herbs that are growing in my garden. Heather, gotta love mugwort. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Although I do need some more. I think we realised that the other day when we were pottering about. Angela, just use incense and visualise any negative energy leaving. Think of it as swirling black smoke. And you can absolutely use... I hope you're baking a cake as well. You can absolutely use incense. You are very delicate. You can use incense sticks as well. Obviously, they are just as good. Yeah, look at the mug. Look at the mug. Big old thank you to Heather's husband, Martin. He's an absolute star. He made us mugs for remote air image. Go to work.
The return of the hand. I'm just going to work. Bye.
Yeah, you go to work. Bye. Christine did try Osho root, but it was a bit strong. Didn't like the idea of taking it away from the bears coming out of hibernation. So I used the bell mostly. Yeah, you don't want to upset the bears. David, for smudging, I use rosemary. I think rosemary is brilliant for smudging. Frankincense has a great bang for your buck. Yes. Juniper, though, is my favourite, just not easy to get hold of. I do have some juniper berries. I do have a juniper bush in the garden, but it's only little at the minute. Frankincense I love. If you are working with loose incense, bear in mind that it is the resins, like frankincense, that make all the smoke. So yeah, if you're using resin of any sort, open the windows because it's going to fill your house with smoke. I do love frankincense, but the girls and I were thinking a long while back now, perhaps we should look at something more native to the UK because obviously frankincense doesn't grow in the UK. And actually, we do tend to work a lot now with pine resin and it works brilliantly. And it has got that kind of, I want to say toilet cleaner, pine fresh scent. So I have kind of switched over to pine resin now, but I do love the scent of frankincense. Okay. One of the builders is whistling upstairs, bless him. Karen, tend to use incense sticks more than smudge bundles. They are safer. Yes, there is that to bear in mind. If you have got a bundle of dried herb of any kind, bits of it will drop off. Yeah. Holes in carpets to prove that. Jackie, white sage grows well in a polytunnel. Yes, it's we're a little bit chilly for white sage over here, but I was gifted a plant earlier this year, and it's doing all right in the garden. Our garden's quite sheltered, so I'm hoping it will be all right. But I kind of very much of the I'll use whatever's native because I've got a garden full of herbs, so use them. Sephora, I tend to do it after the odd visitor, but tend to use whatever's on hand. And if he who gets migraines is about, I use my bells. Yeah, the smoke thing's a bit of a problem. But what I do tend to do now, I make a loose incense blend and I put it on top of the oil burner. So if you've got an oil burner with the dish on the top, I would have got all bits and pieces out to show you, but I cannot reach anything because it's all piled up in Kitchen Witch HQ. Has all of their bedroom furniture, all of their clothes, all of the other bits and pieces. I cannot get to anything. So if you're waiting on an order from the Kitchen Witch online shop, it's going to be next week because I can't get to it at the minute. But if you've got an oil burner with the dish on the top, put a bit of sand or salt in the top of the dish, and then put your loose incense blend on the top. Light your little candle underneath, and the heat from the candle that normally warms the oil in the top will actually warm the incense, and it will give off a scent without giving off the smoke. It's a really, really good option if you're not good with smoke. Karen, purple sage works just as well as white sage, and that's in my garden. Yes, I use just the normal green garden sage. It has exactly the same magical properties. Exactly the same. Maria, supermarkets sell juniper. Yes, I think I have seen juniper berries in the supermarket. Tend to use that for incense blend at Yule. I like juniper. I do. It is very cleansing. I use juniper quite a lot in blends where I want to connect with the other world or boost psychic abilities. I find it works very well for that. It's also very nice with roast meat. Angela used to do medieval reenactment and strewing fresh herbs on the floor and using smoke to clean and clear a room, especially where there was illness. There's still a job as a royal strewer. It was something that was done, wasn't it? And it was done in many, many cultures. So don't shy away from smoke cleansing because you think it's not something you can do because you're not of a certain culture. Most cultures use and did use and often still use smoke cleansing. And I think as well the word smudging is an English word. The indigenous peoples of the Americas will use their own word for it in their own language. So using the word smudging is not appropriation. It is a descriptive word. And in actual fact, some dictionaries will tell you that smudging, the root of smudging is smogen, which is an Old English word, which means, well, think about smudge. Smudge means, got a smudge of ink on your face or something. It means to blot something, to smudge something, but it also means to cleanse with smoke. And that's what the dictionary says. And smogen, the root of the word, is Old English. So just let's stop messing about with all of this appropriation stuff and do your research about it. It is absolutely fine to use the word smudging. It is absolutely fine to use cleansing with smoke. Just keep it to your own practice, I think, is probably the wise way of looking at it. Use what you've got to hand. Use what's native to you. Make it your own. There, lecture for the morning. Good morning, Steve. We're burning some old papers the other day. Jackie remembered we had some winter savoury, nice, growing in the rockery. Grabbed some of the old dead stems and we threw them on too. Brilliant. I think it's a bit early for barbecues. Probably not so much for Sephora in New Zealand. Probably is barbecue time. If you're having a barbecue, chuck some herbs on it as well and use that to cleanse your garden, cleanse the people standing around it. Good idea. Or if you've got an open fire, you can chuck herbs on there as well. Emma was gifted some white sage bundles, but I'm not feeling the need to use them. Thinking of alternatives I used to do, such as bells, candle flame, and water with oils in them. Now, I have got a sage bundle, but it is one I made myself. But I was then gifted one. It came in one of the mystery boxes, I think, one of the witchy mystery boxes. As I've got it, I will use it at some point because there's no point not using it now that I've already got it. But yeah, it's got to feel right for you. Absolutely. Love the mug. The mug is good. Yeah. Martin is an absolute star. How cool is that? Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. And then the hand is looking good. Don't encourage him, Christine. Kerry uses rosemary. I think rosemary is a good one. It is a very cleansing, purifying scent. It is quite antiseptic, so it is good at clearing and getting rid of negative energy. It's also a woody one, so it does burn really well and for a decent amount of time as well. Maria, I go from back of the flat to the front. Excellent. Driving the negative energy out. Corner of the rooms, opening doors and words, of course, and begin with myself first. I think we often forget that. We cleanse the whole room, we cleanse all the house and forget ourselves because we pick up negative energies as well. Steve, white sage polytunnel grew very well, smell amazing. Mind you, we also had sacred basil tulsi in there too. Basil, yes. I don't like the smell of white sage particularly, but I think that is, again, that's a personal thing, isn't it? That is, we all have different likes and dislikes. Emma has set the fire alarms off with resins before, yes. Yeah, be mindful of smoke alarms. Tina, I've always used sage, but will be using lavender from my garden. Yes, I use sage, but I used the green normal garden sage. I do tend to wrap it with something like rosemary because it's got woodier stems. It does tend to burn better. Maria, need that mug. Not another mug. Yeah. Good morning, Trudy. Jane, frankincense is great to use when there's been any friction in the home. It makes everyone convivial and friendly again, especially when fizzy, fruity wine is drunk by all. Yeah, that's probably what does the trick. Aldi do a fruity wine, rose wine called Grove Manor, which is great. Low alcohol, witchy punch for this purpose. Nice. I do. I like frankincense. Smells amazing. But as I say, experiment with others as well. Pine resin is my go-to now. It does work very well. Maria, son bought me Aries incense from Starchild, which I burn atop of salt. They do a very nice range of loose incense. Jackie is multitasking, drinking coffee, ordering seeds. Oh, it's that time of the year, isn't it? Listening to you. With regard to smudging, I have a bit of a pick and mix approach. Herbs from the garden, incense, or charcoal, or sprays. I think there are so many different options now. You can make your own loose incense blend. You can buy loose incense blend, burn them on charcoal. You can put those loose incense blends on your oil burner so that you don't get the smoke. You could use just a blend of essential oils. You could use salt or salt water sprinkled in the corners of the house. Brilliant. You can use sound. Several people have mentioned bells, crystal bowls. Have a bit of a love-hate with singing bowls, crystal bowls. I haven't found one that resonates with me yet. Most of them just set my teeth on edge. But ringing bells of any sort, drumming, any kind of sound will clear. Just playing music loud. I would suggest a bit of heavy metal or something that will clear the negative energy out. But anything that's upbeat, that will clear the negative energy out. Clapping your hands works as well. Visualization is good. If you just want to visualize, you visualize white light, blue light, green light, wherever you want, clearing out all the negative energies. Just opening the windows on a windy day and letting the air blow through will help clear negative energy out as well. There are lots of different options if you don't want to go down the smoke route. But if you do go down the incense, incense sticks, incense cones, even scented candles, part of it is the scent, part of it is the smoke or the sound, it is the vibrations, but part of it is you putting that will and intent into it. It is just like any kind of spell working. Walking around the house, chanting, visualizing, willing that negative energy to clear out is a big part of it as well. Just wafting a sage stick round is not going to do it. There has to be that intent put into it. It is, you've got to put effort into it to make it actually happen. But there are lots of different options, and there are lots of different herbs. There are herbs and spices that lend themselves to clearing negative energy. For me, it is like rosemary because it's got that pungent clearing smell. Anything that would clear your sinuses. So fennel works very well. Eucalyptus, any of the resins really, because they have a strong scent. But anything that has that cleansing, juniper was mentioned earlier, that works very well as well. Anything that's got that clear out kind of scent to it. And I think perhaps anything uplifting too, like any of the citruses, lemons, oranges, grapefruits, that all works really well for clearing and cleansing. But at the base of it all, just basic salt. Don't burn salt in incense. That doesn't work. Don't put chilies in incense blends. Don't do it. I speak from experience. Putting dried chilies in incense will make your eyes cry. So not a wise idea. Really not a wise idea. But just working with basic salt or salt water works as well. It is about finding a method that works from you. But I do like to mess about with the loose incense blends and see where that takes me. But I think it has to have that pungent, clearing scent for me to work well. But experimenting and with what you've got as well. Jane, funny you should say juniper is cleansing. It's the main flavour in gin, and my mum always said gin is a clean drink. Oh, it's see-through too, isn't it? So that kind of makes sense. I think juniper for me is it is an otherworldly scent, flavour, ingredient. Definitely. Sephora. Is it Orthodox churches that do the smoky swinging thing, which I've always admired? They have the censer, which is usually the brass thing on a chain, and that has incense in it. Yeah. See, everyone does it. Everyone does it. Romans had incense. The Oracle of Delphi had incense. In fact, it was probably some of that helped towards the visions and stuff. In most cultures have had use smoke, incense, or some form of that at some point. Jane, not fair to say we appropriate words when sometimes they're imposed on us by invaders. Our language comes from all over the place. It does. We have a complete pick and mix of language. Absolutely. Christine, holly makes a lovely crackly noise in our fireplace, and someone used holly in a bee smoker for ritual, and it smelt gorgeous. Interesting. I don't often put holly in an incense. I'm looking at a huge holly bush at the minute. It's just next door neighbour's garden. I've not put holly in it. I'm going to try that now. Emma, I used them eventually, just not yet. Yeah, you've got to use what works for you. It's got to feel right for you. If you are cleansing and clearing, it has to feel right for you. Otherwise, it's not going to work. That's just how it is. Sephora, I like bay leaves. Bay leaves work really, really well. Actually, the girls and I were at a church. I know. There's a very old church in Bosham. It's amazing, and it's got a little crypt in it as well. So we were poking about in that, but just outside the church gate was the most enormous bay tree that I've ever seen. It was the height of a house. It was huge, absolutely huge. So be mindful if you have a bay tree in your garden; they do grow quite big. Mine's in a pot, but yes, bay, absolutely. I think bay's very protective. So that brings in protection when you're cleansing as well. Probably worth mentioning, if you are clearing, cleansing, if you are using smoke or whatever it is that you're using to clear out that negative energy, what happens then? A big void. What loves a void? More negative energy. So I kind of incorporate into mine when I'm doing it, clearing out the negative energy, but I usually add in something that brings in the positive. So as I'm clearing the negative energy, I'm bringing in the positive as well. So be mindful to not just clear out that space and leave an empty space. Clear out the negative energy, but bring in positive as well. You can do it all at the same time as you're doing it. And if you are busy, like most of us are, you can work this in with your hoovering, your vacuuming, or your dusting routine. Work it in with your housework. You don't have to have a whole, I've got to set aside 2 hours to do a full-on ritual to cleanse the house. You can work it in with your housework, your regular housework routine. Make it work for you. Karen, I use salt water for cleansing if smoke is an option. So simple and available anytime. Yep. Even storm water comes around frequently these days. Storm water would be brilliant for clearing out negative energy. Brilliant. Karen, sorry, there's the dog complaining. You're right there. I like to use sage, mugwort, lavender, and rosemary when possible. Nice combination. Very nice combination. You get cleansing from the sage and the mugwort and the rosemary. Lavender brings in positive energy as well. Nice blend. Heather, bicarb soda is good, sprinkled and then with intention swept or vacuumed out. It is bicarbonate of soda. Sprinkle it. You can make one of the books that I wrote. I can't remember which one. Might be Magic Herbs. There's a blend in there for carpet cleaner. So bicarbonate of soda mixed with some dried herbs. Sprinkle it on your carpet, vacuuming it out. So you're cleansing, clearing, and vacuuming at the same time. And it takes away any pet smells as well. See, kitchen witches. I'm sorry, I think they're putting in a radiator and new flooring, so it might get a bit loud in the background. Karen, teeny tiny cauldron is good. Oh yes, good for carrying around with a charcoal disc and herbs burning. The lid has holes so the smoke can float out. Nice. It's like a censer, like they use in the churches. Perfect. Emma, banging a saucepan with a wooden spoon helps. Yes, bit loud, but it helps. Yeah, absolutely. Sound is vibration. So the vibrations work to clear out the negative energy. If you've got a drum, brilliant. If you don't have a drum, saucepan with a wooden spoon, perfect. My kids used to love beating saucepans with wooden spoons when they were kids, sitting on the kitchen floor while I was cooking. Tupperware tub with a lid on, or a biscuit tin with a lid on. Anything that will make a noise, absolutely perfect. Angela, today would be a good day for cleansing. It's near blowing a gale outside. If you can open some windows without, causing any destruction. Yes, get that fresh air in, get the wind blowing through the house to clear it out, definitely. Steve, intent is it is so important. If you are working a ritual or a spell and all you're doing is reading the words, then nothing is going to happen. You need to put that will and intent into it. You need to want it to happen. You need to, in ritual, when you are casting the circle, you need to visualize that circle. You need to feel that sacred energy within the circle. When you're calling in the elements, you need to visualize and feel the energy of each of those elements that you call in. Otherwise, you are just reading words from a piece of paper. And the same with smudging. If you are just wafting about a bit of sage, it's not going to do anything. It has to have that intent behind it to make it work. Absolutely. Maria, my mum used to burn olive leaves. Interesting. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a lot of noise behind me. Olive leaves. Interesting. Not heard of that before, but that would work. Yeah, absolutely. And that, I guess, this is about using what is traditional to you, using what is to hand for you, using what you are comfortable using and what makes sense to you. Absolutely. Steve, used to go to a chili festival. I was once a bit lax in cleaning my hands after handling some chili powder. I know where this is going. Suffice to say, there were blisters. Ouch. Yes. Now, be careful touching chilies and then what you touch afterwards. Your eyes, obviously. But yes, chili powder, ground chili, dried chilies, not in incense blends. Never, never, never. You'll only do it once. Maria, bay smells amazing. It has got that earthy kind of energy to it, hasn't it? Bay leaves. They would probably be in my go-to herb kit because they are so useful for things. Steve, refilling the empty space, very good point. Only because, a lot of this stuff is experience. You learn from your experiences, you learn from your mistakes. You've cleared out all the negative energy, so you have left a void. So you need to fill it with something, because otherwise it will just fill up with negative energy again. I must admit, when I do a big old smudging through the house, I do cleansing on a regular basis when I'm doing the housework. But every so often, you can feel the energy, can't you? You can feel it's a bit upside down, a bit hinky. I do a big smoke cleansing, and then I'll renew the witch bottles. So I have a couple of witch bottles sat in the house. One's around here somewhere. Can't remember where I put it in the kitchen. The other one's in the living room. It's just tucked under a chair. And I will renew those at the same time, because if the air's got a little bit hinky, it also means to me that the witch bottles need replacing. So it's about recognizing the energy in your own home. And I've talked probably till your ears fall off about connection and about tapping into the energy on a regular basis. So if you feel it's hinky, then there are things that need to be done to clear it out. Tina, never thought about bringing in positive and getting rid of the negative. Just from experience, that's all. You've cleared out all this negative stuff, so there's a hole, basically. I do it at the same time. I don't do a cleansing and then come in and do a positive. I just work it as I'm doing my smoke cleansing or housework or whatever it is. Clear out the negative, bring in the positive. And it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. If you're using a chant, it could literally be clear out the negative energy, bring in the positive. Don't make it complicated. Hannah, use salt mixed with herbs depending on what I feel and sprinkle. Nice. Apparently salt sprinkled in the edges of your home also gets rid of fleas. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder if this is the reason behind doing this in the old days. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense, doesn't it? Makes sense to me anyway. I like the idea of salt mixed with herbs. I've got an altar cleansing mix actually that is salt mixed with various herbs for sprinkling on my altar to cleanse and clear it. So you empty your altar, sprinkle the altar salt mix, herb mix on your altar, and then sweep that away. Sweep away, clear and cleanse. Yeah. Brilliant. Perfect. Karen, housework, what's that? Thought witches are supposed to grow cobwebs and dust. Absolutely. You always need to have some cobwebs around the house. Definitely need to have cobwebs. Sephora, what do you recommend for psychic stimulation smoke-wise other than mugwort? So mugwort would be one of my go-tos, because mugwort is a very psychic abilities boosting herb. And it's also good for it clears out the negative. It brings in a bit of protection as well. But juniper would work as well on the same sort of level as that. Marigold is one of my go-tos for psychic abilities, for boosting psychic abilities. Anything that you think of as otherworldly, or something that will boost your psychic abilities, like black tea. Your normal black tea leaves from your tea bag, very, very good for boosting your psychic abilities. So yeah, that would be probably marigold is one of my go-tos for that, followed by juniper. But good old black tea works just as well. Lucky Fairy Queen. In my family, we also have this thing of using yellow and black mustard seeds. I use them a lot. Keep them in the area overnight and flush out in the morning. Good for cleansing too. Then burn cinnamon. Nice. I think mustard has got any of those things that have got that fiery kick. Chilies, mustard, chili powder, paprika, any of that range of stuff. Cumin, anything that's got that kick to it will work very well. We don't know what they're doing up there, but it's loud. Anything that's got that ginger as well would be really good, because it kicks out the negative stuff, but it's got that fiery energy, so it brings in the positive too. Mustard seeds, perfect. And cinnamon for me would be the bringing in the positive afterwards, definitely. I think we all, yes, which is we don't do too much housework because you always need cobwebs. There's also house dust is very magical too. Taryn S's last book, Taryn S. Witchcraft, her last book covers house dust and how to use it magically. Brilliant. Trudy, we have a eucalyptus tree in a nearby common. The birds strip the bark, so I use the bits nature does not use. Eucalyptus is brilliant because it's got that scent again. You've got that sinus cleansing scent. So for me, it works brilliantly for clearing and cleansing out negative energy. It's also a very good one for healing as well. The bark, all the leaves. Yeah, absolutely. Hammer started exactly. You said it might get loud. I think they're sanding something or drilling something. Yeah, I do have drumming background. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know what they're doing. It's loud. Claire, Blue Lotus, very pretty, very nice, very nice. What do you use that for, Claire? Why do you use that, I guess, is the question as well. I think all of these ingredients, and this is one of my pet things. Oh, I need a list of ingredients to clear and cleanse. So you look in a book or you look on the internet, here's your list of ingredients. Don't just go, oh yeah, I need that. Why? Why do they have those correspondences? Why do you use that ingredient? What is the connection? And it's a pet peeve of mine, particularly when you look up deities on the internet, you look for their correspondences, and it gives you a whole list of correspondences, and you think, why? Why is that herb associated with that deity? Why is that animal associated with that deity? For me, it's important to think about the ingredients and why you are using them. But that's, might just me being ranty. Jane, Turkish witchy friend of mine gave me some blessed olive leaves years ago. Wonder where they are. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, yeah, seek them out. Oh, look, the sun's come out. That's why I've gone all dark. We do have a very little olive tree in our garden. We've had it for a couple of years now. It does all right. It's in the corner of the garden, so it's quite protected. But the olive leaves are beautiful because they're that grey, silvery grey green colour. Pretty much the colour that our bedroom's going to be, actually. Emma, when I cleanse, I see dark smoke or mass leaving through the front door, back door, window, wherever, and then a golden light filling that space. Perfect. Because you're clearing out, let's turn this around a bit. You are clearing out the negative, but also bringing in the positive. Perfect. Willow Moon. Doreen Valiente said, you don't do the ritual, you are the ritual. And she was obviously a very wise lady. Absolutely nailed it. Kerry. Bay has an awesome aroma and love the way it crackles when burnt. It is. And it is one of those traditional ones, I think, that is very good for cleansing. And for me, it brings in that protection too. So you're kind of a double whammy. The scent clears out the negative energy and the bay protects from any of the negative stuff coming back again. So that works quite well. Sephora. The air is often hinky in our house. Pungent. I don't know what to do with that, Sephora. Christine, it would scare the Romans away today with all the noises in the house. Actually, where we are, because we are near the coast, because we are literally a spit from the main London road, the main Portsmouth to London road, this would have been a thoroughfare for Romans and all sorts. They would have literally come from the port right up through to London. So they're probably, stomping through the house as we speak. As you said earlier, if you don't bring the positive in, a void will occur. It will. I mean, you create a void when you get rid of all that negative stuff. It is important to fill it, absolutely. Karen, clearing witch bottles just reminded me. What do you do with a witch ladder that has served its purpose? Can't decide whether to bury one of mine or undo it and cleanse the wall for another day. Whenever with witch ladders, it depends what they're made of. If the wool is biodegradable, you can bury it. If it's not, don't bury it. I tend to make it's that noise like you get at the dentist that sets your teeth on edge. It's like having your teeth drilled. Um, I tend to make my witch ladders from garden twine because then I know I can either burn it or bury it, and there is no worries about it being, not eco-friendly or anything. I think it depends what it's made of, and also what it was used for. If it was used to soak up something really bad, then you want to get rid of it. If you feel it's right to undo it and cleanse the wall for another day, then go for it. Must admit, I've never done that with the witch ladder. I've usually gotten rid of it in some way, but trust your intuition on what needs to be done and what it's made from. Jane, every now and then cobwebs can be collected by twirling them up with a stick like candy floss and popping them in a jar. Spiderweb candy floss, I like it. Great for binding spells. Yes, but also I think of spiders' webs as the web of life. I actually put a bit of spider's web in my witch bottles, in the house protection witch bottles. I think it brings in the connection of the house because the spider lives here too. But it also brings in that web of weird. It is a symbol of the web of life, and that we do create, to a certain extent, our own destiny. So I do work with spiders' webs from that point of view as well, that they are the web of life, that they are about creating your pathway. They are about connections and the fact that we are all connected in some way. I think spiders' webs are fascinating from a magical point of view, and they do have an awful lot of uses. And of course, it does mean that you can say, oh no, don't dust that bit, I'm keeping the spider's webs. Emma, sounds silly, but cleansing nightmares, if you get what I mean. Our youngest used to suffer from nightmares, and we actually made a spell pouch with him. We got him to, he was much younger, we got him to go through my herb cupboard and my crystal cupboard and pick out the stuff that he wanted to put in his spell bag to cleanse and protect from nightmares. So I think having something in the bedroom to, clear them out and protect from them is a good idea, if that's what you meant, Emma. Absolutely. Maria, I would leave those webs and visualize the binding in them. Imagine all these people strung up in Maria's roof now. All these people stuck to your ceiling. But yes, absolutely. Spiders' webs are there to trap things. They are there to stick insects to. So they work perfectly for it. House dust doesn't go to waste. Contents of the hoovers go in the compost bins and add their magic to the black gold that comes out later. Compost bins are a whole magic unto themselves. All the stuff that you chuck in there, and then it does come out the other end as just wonderful stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You can work a lot of magic with house dust. Bear in mind that it has all of your energies in it from you and everyone that lives in your household. It's potent stuff. Hannah, is there any room you think needs cleansing more regularly? Interesting question. I tend to do the whole house. If I'm going to do it, then I do the whole house. If I'm going to the bother of creating an incense or lighting all the stuff, then I do tend to do the whole house. And I do tend to work from the back to the front, and from the top to the bottom. It's just how I work. I think it will depend. A teenager's bedroom's probably going to be fairly smeggy anyway, not just the negative energy. Rooms that have got lots of traffic in them, rooms that have lots of people in and out of them, are going to have all sorts of energies in them. My witchy room, probably the room that needs least cleansing, I would say. But but it'll depend on who goes in there and what happens in there, I think. But I do tend to do the house as a whole rather than just cleansing one room. But interesting question. Claire, psychic enhancement. Oh, that's your Blue Lotus. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Ruby, we can hear you're fine despite the background shenanigans, in case you're wondering. Thank you, Ruby. I was wondering. I am quite close to the microphone just in case. Maria, the living room or anywhere that is used most often, or a room that's left vacant to give it a boost of positive energy. Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Rooms that have lots of people going through them and lots of stuff going on will need cleansing. But as well, a room that's left empty with nothing going on it will need a bit of a boost as well. Yeah, it's I think it's on an individual case, really. Hannah, you could use different herbs, different rooms to enhance the room's usage, such as rose for the bedroom. Nice idea. Yes, absolutely. Get a bit of vavavoom in certain rooms. Yeah, that would work very well. You could have calming, relaxing herbs, couldn't you, upstairs in the bedrooms? You could have uplifting, citrusy ones in the bathroom. Yeah, that would work. Nice idea. Nice idea. Sephora, I have a great fondness of sandalwood. Is this okay for cleansing? Yeah, absolutely. There's no right or wrong here. There is no right or wrong. It has to be what works for you. Absolutely has to be what works for you. I don't think it's any good using something that you don't like the scent of for a start. I don't use white sage for various reasons, but one of those is because I don't like the smell of it much. So it has to be, you don't want to come into your room after you've done your smoke cleansing and think, oh, this smells horrible. So use something that works for you. But yes, sandalwood, absolutely. I like sandalwood. That smells nice. Christine would write the name of people and make a scroll and then stick it in the webs and make it look like decoration, especially if you use pretty coloured paper. Yeah, let's make it fashionable for spiders' webs to be part of the decor. I like it. I'm not sure the spider would be over happy though. You'd have to have a chat with the spider first to let him know that you're going to be messing about with his web, her web. Maria, you're on fire today. Yeah, it's the sound effects today. It's the background sound effects. Jane, sometimes a cobweb develops into a dreadlock and is worthy of a preservation order. No one's allowed to touch my websites. Yes, they do sometimes, don't they? I like the description dreadlock. That's good. Yeah, sometimes they do look like that, don't they? Kerry, I love sandalwood soap. Yes, well, sandalwood goes into lots of aftershaves too. It's very nice. Kerry loves spiders and their webs. I think they are fascinating creatures, and I think webs are very, very magical. They are, for me, the web of weird. But I think with any of this, I think it is a very good routine to cleanse on a regular basis. Your home, don't forget your car, and your bodies as well, I think. And if you use magical tools or anything like that, don't forget to cleanse them as well. I think it's a really good routine to get into because negative energy can build up so quickly without you even thinking about it. And it's not even necessarily the people in the home. If you think about all of the stuff that comes in, all of the Amazon deliveries, all of the post, all the groceries, anything that's come from outside in has the opportunity to bring negative energy in with it. But just our daily living as well will bring different energies into it. If you are having any work done, that's going to throw the house energy off completely. So it's worth bearing in mind that it can creep up. So getting into a routine of doing a cleansing on a regular basis can really keep the energy of the house positive. And I would back that up as well with a couple of witch bottles because I think they are brilliant for soaking up daily energy, negative energy, and bringing in the positive as well. It's kind of a two-tier system, really. cleansing, and then the witch bottles. But there are also other things as well. There are even your air fresheners can be charged with energy to keep the negative energy down, or to transition, that's the right word, negative energy into positive. Your regular, I don't use air fresheners. What we tend to have, we found a good system now. We have a pebble from the garden, and we put drops of essential oil on it, put it in a little dish, keep it in the WC, the water closet, and the bedrooms, and then just top up the essential oil every so often. Bear in mind that some of those oils can be damaging for your pets. But even that, bringing that scent in, charging your air freshener, whatever it might be, with the intent of clearing negative energy and bringing in the positive. And then you have sprays were mentioned earlier. You can make a brilliant essential oil spray, distilled water and a few drops of essential oil. Distilled water can be made just by boiling the kettle and letting the water go cold. Then you put your essential oil in, put it in one of the spray bottles, charge it with your intent, and then spray it around. There's lots and lots of different ways of getting rid of that negative energy and bringing the positive in without, too much hassle. We'd be arachnophobia here. Now, any spiders do seem to kind of spark that, don't they? Any animal that you are scared of, that you don't like, it's worth looking into why. Look at the creature, look at their habitat, look at their magical properties, look at their spirit properties, and see if there's anything that sparks a connection to you as to why you don't like them. Jane, oh dear, the altar must be heaving with magic. It hasn't been dusted for so long. No, I think the altar, I do advise getting like Snow White with your altars, because too much dust on an altar, and I find the energy doesn't flow. So yeah, give it a dust. Angela, I tell spiders to stay in the cellar away from me. I know they're good to have around, but arachnophobia, it's worth looking into what it is that is sparking that. Jackie, imagine our house, a 2-carer team, 4 times a day up and down the stairs and landing, pushes my germophobia through the roof, and then the energies. It is when there is disruption like that in the house. It's been in that situation. It's not fun. It's just about getting into that regular routine of clearing it out, isn't it? But you know what you're doing. Christine, tea trees, toxic fumes for dogs and cats, beware. There are a few, aren't there? So if you are going to put essential oils around your home, do be mindful if you've got pets. Heather, spray made with a base of witch hazel is good too. Thank you. Good old witch hazel, and it's good stuff. People need. Oh, I think that goes for anything really. Do your research. Always do your research. Kerry, I'm sure distilled water is made from the vapor of steam, not the boiled water itself. Whenever I make distilled water, I boil the kettle and use the water that is cooled. It takes out the impurities and gives me free, easy access to water that's going to last a bit longer than if you just poured it out of the tap. But if you are worried about it lasting, put a few drops of neat alcohol in it, and then it will it'll keep it pure. Jane, spiders have a big advantage over us in many ways. Number of legs, speed, unpredictable movements, lots of things. Well, that and the ability to spin a web, which would be quite useful, let's be honest. I think it is. About finding a practice that works for you, but definitely one to work with on a regular basis. Use what works for you. Use what you have to hand. Use a scent that you like if you're working with scent, but it can be sound. It can be all sorts of things. But a regular routine of clearing out that negative energy will really make a difference. Just finding something that works for you, really. But remember to bring that positive in as well, because you've got to have that balance to bring about the good stuff. But yeah, if anyone's got any favourite recipes or favourite ideas, do pop them on the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group. Your recipes for sprays or incense blends or anything, we'd love to hear about them. What you've made, how you've made it, what you use would all be good. But otherwise, Christine's filled with silly energy. We like silly energy. It's good. Keep up the silly energy. So yeah, have fun with it. If you haven't done it for a while, go and do it today. I think also experiment. See what herbs you've got. Try different herbs and see how the energy feels afterwards. You will find that different herbs, different scents leave a different energy afterwards. So it is worth experimenting to see what works for you and what doesn't, and what changes the energy to your liking. So yes, next one up, Kit. There's a link there as well. Thank you. Kitchen Witch Spring Equinox Ritual and Workshop, Saturday 8th of March, 6 till 8. If anyone is around on Saturday 26th of March, myself, Ness and Heather will be at the Wild Witchcraft Conference in Cow Plain. We'll also be at Wandering Witches on Saturday the 12th of April. We're going to have a stall there. So lots of things going on. We've also got lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. So keep an eye out on the events pages on my website, on the Kitchen Witch website. Lots of stuff happening. And don't forget our membership forum, which is Hearth, £2 a month for access to all sorts of stuff. Details of that over on the Kitchen Witch website. So enjoy your smudging. Enjoy your cleansing, clearing, and bringing in the positive. And have a good week. And I will catch you guys next week. Take care, everyone.